On the border between two African nations sits a lake that looks like paradise. Fishermen drift across calm water at dawn. 2 million people live along its green shores, in busy lakeside cities, on farms, on quiet beaches. The lake feeds them, carries their boats, and draws the occasional traveler. But deep beneath that peaceful surface, Lake Kivu is holding something monstrous. Hundreds of cubic kilometers of gas lie dissolved in the dark water far below. Enough carbon dioxide and methane that, in the worst case, the lake could erupt in a single suffocating cloud and kill almost everyone living around it. It has happened on smaller lakes before, and Kivu is hundreds of times larger. This is one of only 3 lakes on Earth like it, a place where the water itself could turn killer without a moment's warning. So where is this lake? Look at the heart of Africa, along the Great Rift Valley, the enormous crack where the continent is slowly tearing itself apart. Right on the border between the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Rwanda, you'll find Lake Kivu, one of the African Great Lakes. On its western shore sits the Congolese city of Goma. On the eastern shore, the Rwandan town of Gisenyi. Together with the villages and farms ringing the water, roughly 2 million people live within reach of the lake. And looming just to the north stands one of the most active volcanoes in Africa, Mount Nyiragongo. The lake is beautiful, the soil is rich, and the setting looks idyllic. But this corner of the Rift Valley is one of the most geologically dangerous places anyone has ever chosen to call home. To understand the danger, you have to understand what makes Kivu so strange. Most lakes mix. Wind and changing seasons stir the water, turning the surface over with the depths, so nothing builds up for long. Kivu does not do this. It is what scientists call meromictic. Its layers almost never mix. The lake is split into a warm, light upper layer, where people swim and fish, and a cold, heavy lower layer that sits undisturbed in the dark, sometimes for centuries. And down in that deep layer, year after year, gas has been quietly dissolving into the water and staying there. The only thing keeping it down is the sheer weight of the water above, pressing on it like a lid. As long as that lid holds, the gas stays hidden. The trouble begins the moment anything lifts it. So just how much gas is down there? The numbers are hard to picture. Deep in Lake Kivu lie an estimated 300 cubic kilometers of carbon dioxide and around 60 cubic kilometers of methane, the same flammable gas we burn for fuel. All of it dissolved in water reaching as deep as 480 meters. To grasp the scale, the cloud that killed at another African lake came from a body of water a tiny fraction of this size. Kivu holds a charge hundreds of times greater, sitting beneath 2 million people. The deeper you go, the more saturated the water becomes, creeping closer to the point where it can hold no more. Scientists watch those levels closely because they are slowly, steadily rising. The lake is not just dangerous today. By some measures, it is growing more dangerous with time. Where does all this gas even come from? The answer lies in the ground beneath the lake. Kivu sits on top of active volcanic terrain, and from deep below, carbon dioxide constantly seeps up through the lakebed and dissolves into the deep water. Down there, in the cold and the dark, colonies of bacteria feed on that carbon dioxide and produce methane, slowly building the second, flammable half of the lake's hidden load. So Kivu is being charged from beneath continuously by the very same volcanic forces that built this whole landscape. It isn't a one-time accident waiting to happen. It is a system, a vast natural battery fed by the Earth itself, growing a little more potent with every year that the deep water stays locked in place. We know what a lake like this can do because a smaller one already did it. In 1986, at Lake Nyos in Cameroon, the deep gas-charged water was somehow disturbed. In an instant, the lake exploded, not with fire but with gas. A massive cloud of carbon dioxide burst from the water and rolled downhill, invisible and heavier than air. It poured silently into the valleys below, pushing all the breathable air aside. In a single night, it suffocated more than 1,700 people in their homes, along with their animals. Whole villages simply never woke up. That was Nyos, a lake a tiny fraction of Kivu's size. Now picture that same kind of release, scaled up hundreds of times beneath 2 crowded cities. That is the nightmare scientists are working to make sure never comes. So what could ever set Kivu off? The lid over the deep water is strong, but it is not unbreakable. A large enough shock to the lake bed could begin releasing the gas, and this region offers no shortage of candidates. The biggest is Mount Nyiragongo, the towering volcano just to the north, which holds one of the world's largest lakes of molten lava. When it erupted in 2002 and again in 2021, rivers of lava poured downhill into the city of Goma, reaching the very shore of the lake. A major eruption, an underwater landslide, or volcanic activity beneath the lakebed could each, in theory, disturb the deep layer. No one knows exactly how much it would take. And that uncertainty is part of what makes living beside Kivu so unnerving. And yet, 2 million people do live here, because they must, and because the lake gives as much as it threatens. Its waters are full of fish, its shores are some of the most fertile land in the region, fed by reliable rains. Goma and Gisenyi are busy, growing cities, full of markets, families and daily life that has nothing to do with dissolved gas far below. But the danger does sometimes surface. In low spots around the lake and the volcanoes, carbon dioxide seeps up from the ground and pools where the air is still. Pockets the locals call mazuku, meaning evil wind. People and animals who wander into them at night can suffocate without ever knowing why. It is a small, constant reminder of the far larger force waiting in the deep. Here's the strange part of Kivu's story. The same gas that could destroy the region might also be its salvation. Rwanda has built something remarkable out on the lake, a power plant that floats on the water and pulls the deep, gas-rich water up to the surface. There, it separates out the methane and burns it to generate electricity for the national grid. In other words, they are mining the danger. Every bit of methane drawn off for power is a bit less pressure building in the deep. Done carefully, this could turn the lake's greatest threat into a steady source of clean energy and lower the risk of an eruption at the same time. It is one of the only places on Earth where the plan to make a region safer is to harvest the very thing that makes it deadly. But extraction is slow, the lake is enormous, and the gas keeps building from below. So Lake Kivu sits in a quiet race between the engineers drawing the danger off a little at a time and the deep water charging itself a little more each year. For now, the lid holds. The fishermen go out at dawn, the cities grow along the shore, and life carries on above one of the most dangerous bodies of water on the planet. Most people there will tell you they don't think about it much. You can't move 2 million lives away from a lake, and you can't drain it overnight. So they live with it, the way people everywhere learn to live beside the things that could one day undo them. And they hope the water keeps its terrible secret pressed safely down in the dark.